I was 78 years old when my therapist said something that unsettled me more than any diagnosis ever had. She looked at me quietly during one of our sessions and said, "Most people think the final years of life begin with sickness, but emotionally, it usually begins with patterns." Patterns. That word stayed in my head for weeks. Think of your life like a grand garden you've tended for decades. We often wait for a storm to tell us the season is changing, but the garden knows sooner. It's in the way the leaves begin to curl, or how the soil feels just a bit more tired. I had spent years assuming old age only became dangerous when the body failed. But according to her, many people begin emotionally withdrawing from life long before their physical death arrives. It's like a setting sun, gentle at first, almost beautiful, until you realize the light is fading from the things you once loved. And the frightening part, most don't even realize it's happening. They think they are just resting or getting quiet. So today, I want to share the 6 signs my therapist told me often appeared during the final years of life after 70, not to frighten anyone, but because understanding these signs changed the way I live completely. It helped me find the campfire sparks in the dark again, and honestly, I wish someone had explained them to me earlier. The first sign is a quiet retreat from the future. It's when we stop planting seeds for tomorrow because we're too focused on the shadows of today. We start saying no to new memories before we even hear the invitation. We convince ourselves that the best chapters are already closed. But these signs aren't a dead end. They are more like a lighthouse, warning us that we're drifting toward the rocks of isolation. When we recognize the pattern, we can choose to turn back toward the light. We can choose to keep planting, even if we won't be there for the harvest. Our ancestors knew that the end isn't a single moment, but a series of choices we make about how to spend our remaining energy. I want this to be a safe space for us to look at these patterns together, without judgment, just with love. But before we look at the others, let's sit with that for a moment. Because understanding the why behind our patterns is the first step to staying present in the light. Join me in the next part where we'll talk about the second sign, the way our world begins to shrink when we aren't looking. The first sign she told me about was losing interest in the future. At first, I didn't understand what she meant. Because after 70, of course, life slows down. You retire, you stay home more, you become less ambitious. That feels normal. But she explained there's a difference between slowing down and emotionally disconnecting from tomorrow. It's like the difference between a river finding a calm pool and a river that simply stops flowing. She asked me something simple. When was the last time you looked forward to something? And I could not answer her. That silence scared me because I realized I had stopped planning ahead emotionally. Think about that for a second. When the calendar becomes just a list of days rather than a list of possibilities. No trips, no goals, no excitement, no curiosity about the future. I was simply existing one day at a time, waiting for life to continue shrinking. That's when she told me something heartbreaking. She said many elderly people quietly stop imagining a future before they physically leave this world. And once a person emotionally disconnects from the future, decline often accelerates afterward. The light in the eyes starts to dim because there is no horizon left to chase. I started noticing it everywhere after that. Older people saying, "At my age, what's the point?" Or, "I'm too old for all that now." Those sentences sound harmless. We say them to be humble or because we're tired, but sometimes they reveal something deeper. A person slowly stepping away from life emotionally before life has fully stepped away from them. They are packing their bags while the sun is still high in the sky. But even after 70, we are meant to plant seeds. Even if we aren't the ones who will sit in the shade of the tree, the act of planting keeps our hearts open to tomorrow. We must find a new horizon. It doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be something that makes the soul lean forward again. So I ask you, what is one small thing you can look forward to tomorrow? Let's hold that thought together as we prepare for the next sign. The second sign, she explained, was withdrawing from relationships. Now listen carefully because this one is so easy to miss. As people age, social circles naturally become smaller. Friends die, children move away, energy changes. That part is normal. It's the natural autumn of our lives. But she told me there's a dangerous difference between solitude and emotional withdrawal. One heals you, the other slowly erases you. Solitude is a choice for peace. Withdrawal is a retreat from life. After my wife died, I started declining invitations constantly, church gatherings, family dinners, phone calls, neighborhood events. At first, I told myself I simply preferred peace and quiet. I told myself I had done my part and it was time to just be. But eventually, the quiet became something darker, isolation. And isolation changes older people in terrifyingly subtle ways. Your routines disappear, your conversations disappear, your emotional energy weakens, days begin blending together like watercolor in the rain, and after enough time passes, the outside world starts feeling emotionally distant, almost unreal, like a story you're reading about someone else rather than the world you belong to. My therapist told me many people after 70 unknowingly begin detaching themselves from human connection long before their final years fully arrive. Not because they hate people, but because loneliness convinces them they no longer matter to anyone anymore. It's a whisper that tells you the world has moved on without you. That belief is incredibly dangerous because human beings need emotional connection until the very end of life. It is the oxygen of the soul. We must remember that our story is still being written, and every person we touch is a character in that story. Connection isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. So I ask you, who can you reach out to today? Not to do anything grand, but just to remind yourself that you are still part of the beautiful weave of this world. The fourth mistake I made was ignoring small memory problems. Now listen closely because this is a shadow that often grows in silence. Some forgetfulness is normal with age. It's like a leaf falling in the autumn, expected and gentle. But I started dismissing things I should have paid attention to. Missed appointments, forgotten medications, leaving the stove on once, then twice. Small threads of my daily life were starting to come loose, and I was just looking the other way. Think of your memory like a grand library. For years, you knew where every book was, but slowly, a few volumes start to go missing. You tell yourself they are just misplaced, but the shelves are getting thinner. And because I lived alone, nobody else noticed the pattern forming. That's one of the hidden dangers of aging alone. There's no second set of eyes observing your decline gradually. One evening, I drove to the grocery store and completely forgot why I was there. I stood in the parking lot staring at the entrance, trying to remember my own purpose. That moment scared me badly. Not because I forgot groceries, but because I suddenly realized how vulnerable aging alone can become when cognitive issues begin quietly. It's like a lamp that flickers. You can ignore it when the sun is up, but when the night arrives, that flicker becomes your whole world. I was losing my internal map. Thankfully, my doctor later explained much of my memory struggle was worsened by stress, grief, poor sleep, isolation, and depression. My spirit was simply too heavy for my mind to carry. But had I continued ignoring it, things could have become far worse. Old age requires honesty, especially with yourself. It's about admitting when the light is dimming so you can find someone to help you trim the wick. So I ask you, have you been honest with yourself lately? It's okay to need a second set of eyes. It's okay to reach for a hand in the dark. The fifth sign she warned me about, she was losing emotional resilience. This one surprised me most because we often think our hearts grow tougher with time, but sometimes they just grow tired. Aging changes emotional endurance in ways people rarely discuss openly. It's like a fabric that has been stretched many times. It still holds, but the fibers are thinner than they used to be. Small disappointments begin feeling heavier. A canceled visit or a lost item isn't just a moment anymore. It feels like a mountain you don't have the energy to climb. Loneliness lasts longer emotionally. Rejection hurts deeper. Unexpected changes feel overwhelming, like a sudden storm when you've already lost your umbrella. And grief accumulates. That's the important part. Accumulates. It's not just the new losses. It's the weight of every loss we've ever carried, all gathered together in one place. By the time many people reach their 70s, they are carrying decades of loss. Parents gone, friends gone, spouses gone, old identities and old dreams, all folded up like clothes that no longer fit. I remember telling my therapist one day, I feel tired in my soul. She nodded immediately, like she had heard that sentence many times before from people just like me, because emotional fatigue becomes common in the later stages of life. When the basket of stones gets too heavy, the soul starts to look for a place to set it down and just rest. And when people stop emotionally recovering from pain, they slowly stop emotionally engaging with life itself. They go quiet inside because they are afraid that any new emotion might be the one that breaks them. That's why emotional health after 70 matters just as much as physical health, maybe more. Because the body follows the spirit, and the spirit needs a reason to keep the fire burning. Our ancestors knew that we must tend to the soul's fire as carefully as we tend to a garden. We must learn to set the stones down one by one and breathe in the fresh air of today. So I ask you, how is your soul feeling today? Is it carrying too many stones? It's okay to say you're tired, and it's okay to ask for help to lighten the load. Let's sit with that permission for a moment. Join me in the next part where we'll talk about the sixth sign, the day we stop listening to the stories our own dreams are trying to tell us. And finally, the sixth sign she told me about was quietly preparing to let go. This was the hardest conversation we ever had because it touches the part of us that is most private. She explained that many elderly people begin subtly organizing their emotional exits long before death actually arrives. It's like a quiet house being packed up at the end of a long summer, giving belongings away suddenly, talking about being ready, losing attachment to possessions. It's as if the soul is trying to travel lighter for the next part of the journey, withdrawing emotionally from conflict, speaking more about closure than future plans. At first I resisted what she was saying, but then I remembered my old friend Daniel. About a year before he passed, he started giving people things randomly, books, tools, photographs. He became strangely peaceful, almost detached, like a ship already testing the water before leaving the dock. My therapist explained that sometimes people nearing the final stage of life emotionally begin loosening their grip on the world little by little, not always consciously, but naturally. And honestly, that realization frightened me at first, until she said, awareness of mortality should not make people fear life. It should make them finally pay attention to it. That sentence changed me completely. For years after retirement, I had slowly been drifting emotionally instead of truly living. I was surviving, not participating, existing, not engaging. I was waiting for the sunset instead of watching the day. And once I recognized these signs inside myself, I started changing things intentionally. I began walking again every morning, calling people first instead of waiting for calls, accepting invitations, trying new routines, cooking proper meals, staying curious, laughing more, living more presently. It was as if I was tending my garden again, even if the season was late. Growing old does not automatically mean disappearing. And the final years of life should not begin emotionally decades before they have to. We are still here, and we are still meant to be heard. So if you are over 70 and listening to me today, hear this carefully. Do not surrender your emotional connection to life too early. Your heart is still a fertile ground, even in the autumn of your years. Protect your curiosity. It's the spark that keeps the winter nights warm. It's the reason we keep asking why and what's next. It's the light that never needs to go out. Protect your relationships. They are the roots that anchor you in the storm. They are the mirrors that show us we still exist in the hearts of others. Protect your routines. They are the small rituals that say, I am still here. They are the architecture of our days, giving us a sense of home and belonging. Protect your sense of purpose, because your life is not a book that has been finished. It is a story that is still being lived. You are still the author of your own joy. Because sometimes the most dangerous decline is not physical. It is not the ache in the knees or the slowing of the step. It is emotional withdrawal disguised as aging. It is the fog that rolls in and makes you forget that the sun is still high. It's the quiet voice that tells you that you've done enough and it's okay to stop caring, but that voice is a lie. And before you leave today, I want to ask you something honestly. Which of these 6 signs have you noticed most in yourself or in someone you love? Was it the retreat from the future, the shrinking world? Leave a comment below. I truly read them, and your stories mean more to me than you know. We are all walking this path together, and your voice matters in this conversation. And if this conversation spoke to your heart, subscribe to the channel for more honest conversations about aging, loneliness, emotional healing, retirement, family, and the realities of growing older. Because sometimes understanding what is happening emotionally can help a person start living fully again before it's too late. It can help you see the horizon once more and lean forward into the light. Join